Zack hit $100,000 on a Wednesday afternoon. He was sitting at his desk, refreshing his brokerage account between meetings, and then there it was. 6 figures. He didn't tell anyone, didn't celebrate, just closed the app and went back to his spreadsheet. Because nobody warns you that the first $100,000 feels almost exactly like nothing. That's the first thing nobody tells you. And it's the one that breaks the most people. My name is Zack, and I've spent way too much time studying the gap between people who cross $100,000 and keep going versus the ones who quietly stall out right there and wonder what went wrong for the next decade. If you're somewhere on the climb and want to make sure you don't get stuck at the first major milestone, hit subscribe because what we're about to go through is the stuff that only makes sense after you've already been through it. Let's start with the number itself. Because $100,000 sounds like a lot until you realize what it actually is. According to the Federal Reserve, the median American household has a net worth of around $192,000, which means $100,000 puts you roughly halfway to average. Not wealthy, not financially free, halfway to the middle. And yet most people treat it like an arrival point instead of a checkpoint. Here's what $100,000 actually is. It is the point where compound interest stops being a math concept and starts being something you can feel. At $100,000 invested, an 8% annual return generates $8,000 a year. That's $666 a month showing up in your account without you lifting a finger. Not enough to live on, but enough to notice, enough to feel the shift. And that shift is the whole point. The first $100,000 is not about the money. It is about proving to yourself that you can do this. Every dollar before $100,000 is manual. You earn it, you save it, you move it. The money does almost nothing on its own. But once you cross that line, the math starts working with you instead of against you. And that changes everything about how the next $100,000 gets built. The thing nobody warns you about is how long it takes. If you make $70,000 a year and save aggressively, 20% of your income, you're putting away $14,000 a year. At an 8% return, your first $100,000 takes roughly 6 years. 6 years of packing lunch, driving a used car, watching your friends upgrade their apartments while your brokerage account slowly climbs from $14,000 to $31,000 to $52,000 to finally 6 figures. 6 years is a long time to stay disciplined toward a goal that doesn't feel real yet. Most people quit somewhere between year 2 and year 4. Not because they run out of money, because they run out of patience, because the progress feels invisible, because the sacrifices feel real but the reward still feels abstract. This is what Orus did. He started strong, opened the brokerage account, set up automatic contributions, read the books. By year 2, he had $28,000 saved. Then his friends started buying houses. Then his cousin got the new truck. Then his girlfriend wanted a nicer apartment. And every single upgrade felt reasonable in isolation. Together, they quietly dismantled 4 years of progress in about 18 months. He's 36 now, and his account is back to $31,000. Starting over. Again, the path to $100,000 isn't a straight line. For most people, it looks like 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Here is the second thing nobody tells you. The first $100,000 teaches you something the second $100,000 cannot. It teaches you who you actually are with money. Not who you think you are. Not the version of yourself who reads personal finance books on Sunday mornings with good intentions. The real version. The one who makes decisions at 11 p.m. when the new iPhone drops and your current one works completely fine. The one who shows up to dinner when everyone else orders appetizers and a second round of drinks, and you have to decide in real time whether you're the person who sticks to the plan or the person who says forget it just this once. The first $100,000 is the longest job interview you will ever take. And you are the one being interviewed. What you find out is whether your actual daily behavior matches your stated financial goals. Most people discover a gap. The ones who make it to $100,000 and keep going are the ones who close that gap honestly instead of pretending it wasn't there. Zack figured this out in year 3. He sat down one Sunday and ran the real numbers. Not the optimistic numbers. The real ones. He found $740 a month leaking out of his life in ways he had never actually examined. Subscriptions he forgot about. Delivery fees that had become automatic. Dinners out that happened because he hadn't planned anything else. He didn't overhaul his entire life. He closed 4 leaks. That was it. And those 4 leaks redirected $8,880 a year back into his brokerage account. He hit $100,000 14 months ahead of where he was tracking. The third thing nobody tells you is what changes after you get there. And the honest answer is, less than you think, and more than you realize. Your lifestyle does not change. You are not suddenly free. You cannot retire. You cannot stop working. Nobody throws you a party. Your boss does not find out. The number in your account is completely invisible to the rest of the world. But something internal shifts. And it is quiet, and it is real, and it matters more than almost anything else on the list. You stop being afraid. Not of everything. Not permanently. But the low-grade financial anxiety that runs in the background of every decision. Can I afford this? What if I lose my job? What if something breaks? It gets quieter. Because you have a cushion now. A real one. Not a $1,000 emergency fund that one car repair can eliminate. An actual financial foundation that makes the normal chaos of life feel manageable instead of catastrophic. And that shift in fear changes your behavior at work. You ask for the raise because the worst they can say is no. You push back on the project you think is a waste of time. You explore the other opportunity because you can afford to take the interview. The $100,000 sitting in your brokerage account is not passive income. But it is passive confidence. And passive confidence compounds, just like money does. Here's where Zack and Orus are today. Zack is 38. He hit $100,000 at 34 and kept going. He's at $187,000 now. He did not get a big promotion. He did not inherit anything. He closed the leaks, stayed consistent, and let the math do what math does when you stop interrupting it. Orus is 38. He had $100,000 in his hands at 33 and let lifestyle inflation take it back before he understood what he had. He's rebuilding. He'll get there. But he lost 5 years. And 5 years in your 30s, at 8% compounding, is not 5 years. It is somewhere between $40,000 and $60,000 in compounded growth that simply no longer exists. Same starting point. Same income. Different discipline. The first $100,000 is not the finish line. It is not even the beginning of the end. It is the end of the beginning. The point where the game finally starts playing differently. Where your money begins doing work you used to have to do yourself. Where the habits you built either carry you forward or quietly fall apart. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You need to close the leaks when you find them. And you need to understand that the boredom you feel watching that account slowly climb is not a sign that something is wrong. It is the sound of it working. Pick one leak. Close it this week. See you in the next one. And hit the subscription button for more latest update faster than others.